Some foreign airlines under IATA have been in running battle with the Nigerian government over the inability to repatriate $464 million revenue out of the country in line with the Bilateral Air Service Agreement. In August, IATA criticized the Nigerian government after Emirate Airlines threatened to suspend air flights to and from Nigeria over the company's inability to repatriate $85 million. Following the threat, the Central Bank of Nigeria announced the release of $265 million through the special FX intervention to all foreign airlines in the country to offset the outstanding tapped funds from ticket sales. Also, there have been discussions around the Nigerian Air when it will kick off the partnership with Ethiopian Airlines and all of that. The chairman, United Nigerian Airlines, he doubles as the spokesperson of airline operators in Nigeria, Professor Obiora Okonkwo, OFR. He joins me live from our Abuja studios to speak more on this and other developments in the aviation industry. Good afternoon and thank you so much for your time. It's good to have you on the program.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, I'd like to start with an overview of activities in this space before we dwell more on Nigerian Air and the possibility of, getting on board. Now, what is playing out at the moment? Issues around repatriation, aviation fuel hike, and hike in the price of tickets remain an everyday issue that we talk about. Where do we stand at the moment? What is playing out with all the efforts of government?
Well, I think for now, nothing new is being done. And the price of air tickets have been more or less stable because the airline operators know the negative impact of high cost of ticket on already citizens that are overwhelmed with other difficulties of life. So we've been bearing a whole lot of losses. As you may have known, the last time I was on this program, we were worried that aviation fuel might get up to 500 naira. Today is selling at over 800 naira. So nothing has changed. And we had also at that time dealing with foreign exchange between the CBN rate of 400 and something naira, which has remained the same. And as at today, it is 700 and something going to 800. The last time I was on this program, it was just barely 550, 600. So if we have to reflect or adjust our ticket price based on these indicators, a minimum rate of any economy class ticket would have been nothing less than 150,000 naira. So I've been patiently hoping to see a changing situation and praying that it will come so soon because there's only so much we can absorb. On the Nigerian Air, we don't know when it will start because we airline operators of Nigeria do not believe that Nigeria needs a national carrier. We are very, very strong about this opinion and we're saying it out of our depth knowledge of the market, of aviation, out of our experience, and more importantly, out of patriotism. National Air is just going to be another drain to Nigerian money and the economy. It is a mundane idea all over the world. Normal systems don't operate anymore national carrier. What you have is a flag carrier. Flag carrier is where you have an investors, entrepreneurs from those countries or foreign investment pioneering or operating flag carriers that are traveling out of the country to other parts of the world, are using their own slots and the BASA agreement. And all is required is government to support them in all the ways necessary. So that is what exists in all over the world. Even British Airways you see today is not a national carrier. It's a flag carrier. United Airlines that come into Nigeria from the US is not a national carrier. It's a flag carrier. So we are still amazed why at this year, time and age, Nigeria should be talking about national carrier. Cast your mind back to Nigerian Airways and cast your mind back to management of other government enterprises. When that is set up, you see some people in ministry making appointments or presiding over boards that they don't even have any single experience on, and we continue to harass the government that they need to put more money to run the business, to save jobs. Now, we have a lot of jobs in airlines from private investors. You need to protect them. Countries all over the world support the airlines. And Nigerian operators have the capacity, more than the capacity needed, to service this country, both internally and externally. But we don't have yet the needed support. Recall that we have always maintained that this industry is a critical and essential service industry. And we must have to be treated like the agri industry, the agri sector, even the energy sector, which is the electricity sector, that have been enjoying a whole lot of single-digit loans and special policies and waivers. We, the private operators, we are not asking for grants. We are not asking for free money from the government. But we are offering a national security service. When the airlines are not flying, everything in this country will be brought to zero, especially when traveling by airline is very, very difficult due to situations of insecurity. So we're just simply saying, pay more attention to this sector. Don't look at it as Mr. Okonkwo or Mr. Abdullahi business. Yes, it's private business, but it's a critical sector, and we're saving government a whole lot of stress. Millions of jobs are given in this sector directly and indirectly, and that's the reason why some businesses are still holding on. It is so important that the first sector that enjoyed the support, the grant from the government of the United States during COVID, the first sector was this aviation industry. Same like other parts of the world. So we think that for us, for what we know that this country needs, is not a national career. They can do what they want to do, set up a flag bearer, which must be 100% private owned. And even at that, it must just not be a shareholder from Ethiopian Airlines. We stand against it totally, because that's what is called certain.
That's where my next question comes from, Prof. Allow me to interject, because I was saying that many would say Ethiopian Airlines, having operated their airline successfully for more than 70 years, that maybe there's something Nigeria stands to gain from them. And the federal government just has like 5% stake in all of this. They don't really have much in this business. It's almost privately run, don't you think so?
Well, that's how it looks for somebody like you outside the ecosystem, but that's exactly not what it is. Even if government has 5% or 1%, then they are coming in to have some privileges which the local operators do not have. Yes, they may have operated successfully their own airline for many years, over 70-something years. Kudos to them. We're very proud of what they've been able to achieve. But don't forget that it is totally government business of Ethiopia, one of their biggest sources of income. And government has supported it handsomely. If not because of the recent government support, the Ethiopian Airlines would have been bankrupted after the COVID. The records are there. But be that as it may, it is even more reason why they should not have a share, a percentage of share in business called Nigerian Air, because airline business is a security concern. I know I have interest in so many other companies, but the only company I've been involved in that I had to pass through national security clearance is getting the air transport license to operate this airline. So most countries consider it as such. And that's what is called aeropolitics. Aeropolitics is that you have to protect your own. You have to protect the interests of the local operators. Yes, if we are countries like like these small countries where they have already overwhelmed and captured Cotonou and all that, you can understand because they don't have any other choice. No investors, no entrepreneurs that have the capacity to do that. We have. Ethiopian Airlines has a total of about 180-something aircraft. I may be wrong, but just within around that area. But a combined capacity of individual investors in Nigeria today is having over 100 aircraft. But everything being equal, in the next 1, 2, 3 years, it could have been getting up to 150. Brand new aircrafts are coming in. These are the people who have successfully lifted the transport system of Nigeria airwise from 1 million transporters to 15 million and 20 million, which came just shortly before COVID. It doesn't show, and that at the point COVID came, Nigerian aviation sector was the highest aviation sector, fastest growing in the entire world. And this was done by solely Nigerians. How can somebody say that we cannot do it? So there must be something good that we're doing to have been able to meet that, to come to this level. It's unfortunate we don't appreciate what we have, but you look at the quality of people who overseen these things, there are those who have succeeded in other parts of business. So I really think that the case of what we can do capacity-wise is not the issue. What we don't have, we pay. We bring them in and pay them, and that does not qualify them to be shareholders in our business. So I don't think that and then there is this certain which I talked about. The certain means that if you're an African airline operator and you have a free hold to operate internally in any of the African countries. So if you have your base here in Nigeria, then you are going to probably compete with us when we don't have the same opportunity to do that in our country because they are protecting their own space. And then obviously when these airlines are allowed to come, their first target is to apply what they call predatory pricing, which is just to eat us up. That means if your minimum rate is 100,000, and then they would say is 25,000 or 30,000 naira. At first, it might look attractive. Passengers might be happy about it. But when they will use that to drive the rest of the people out of business, then they have the monopoly to bring the prices to 200,000. So either way you look at it, we are just fighting not only to protect this industry, protect our businesses, but also save the passengers who eventually, on the long run, may be exploited. Look at what's happening now with the international flights. Because government has not supported enough of the local operators to take advantage of our BASA, you don't have reciprocity where maybe Ethiopian Airlines has 5 slots to come into different airports in Nigeria. British Airways comes like 21 times, Emirate multiple times, and we don't even reciprocate in that manner. So for that reason, you see how much we are paying for international travel. A ticket, economic ticket costs as much as 2-something million. But if we're operating in and out of here, being a local operator, it should not be more than 500,000 naira. And more so, you should pay in naira. You don't have to pay in dollars. And your money paid in naira doesn't have to be subjected to repatriation. So in that case, the stress on our foreign exchange reserve, which is very minimal, should have been reduced because this quantum of money they are asking to be repatriated could have been money earned by Nigerian operators in naira if they are supported with the capacity to fly in and out of Nigeria. But for the records anyway and your information, the demand now from foreign airlines is about $700-something million. Is far below 400-something million that you are talking about. Having paid 250-something million, the central bank is being expected to pay $700-something million in addition. You see what we're going through? This would have been money earned by local operators.
Ask you, Prof, that since we know we have an FX crisis as a country, we face this and we know what's happening in the other market, and of course the I&E window. Do you think converting their funds through the I&E window is the way to go to address some of these challenges regards FX in the aviation space?
Yes, that is what we have been advocating, because this is a policy in this country whereby CBN has advised both the manufacturers, other Nigerian, even strategic industry operators, to as well search for foreign exchange through I&E window. It's a government policy. But it seems that these foreign operators have designed a way to threaten Nigeria, bully CBN for no reason, because they just probably think that they are above our rules and regulations or our law. And we're not happy with that, because PASA expects you to comply fully and respect the law where you're operating. As much as we are not against them doing, trying to have the best way to take away their money, but I don't think that at this point, CBN, our CBN has to be subjected to unnecessary blackmail. We had also suggested, we from the airline operators of Nigeria, have suggested the agencies and the government to review certain laws and rules that probably compels the foreign airlines to pay for some services in Nigeria in foreign exchange, like the landing rights, paying for the fuel, aviation fuel. They might have to review it and call other people involved around the table and agree on the need probably for them to use part of those their earnings here in Nigeria to pay for those services, so that the Nigerian receivers could now use through the Nigerian channels to convert their money in case they have a need. So these are part of the suggestions, because necessity should be a mother of invention, so they say. We need to think out of the box and find a critical way, because we sympathize with our country. We're all patriotic Nigerians, and we want to play by the rules, and then obviously factor in difficulties of countries where you're operating. And I'm appealing to these foreign airline operators. They should understand Nigeria is going through a situation right now. What we need is their respect, cooperation, and understanding, and not necessarily threat, blackmail to CBN, the governor of CBN, or any Nigerian agency. They should please be patient with the government and help to help us to and cooperate with us. I have no doubt Nigeria will come out of this very soon. But for us, local operators, obviously, we are not suffering less. We are all also paying the prices of this situation. So that's the difference of having Nigerians doing what they have to do in their own country. That's why we should be supported, rather than aiding any other process to bring a foreign operator to come in. Because when the going is not good, they can just carry their suitcases and leave us. But we're here, we have no place to go. We swim and sink with Nigeria.
To go, what is the outlook? It's not looking too good. Economic outlook all over the world, even IATA's projection and all of that. With all of these challenges identified, what are the prospects for the aviation, for this very interesting industry?
Well, aviation industry is not insulated from the general economic situation in Nigeria and around the world. So it is not about us, the operator. It's not about the industry. So we exist in the same ecosystem. So we're having the same effect. So whatever affects others, maybe to some extent, might affect us. So, but for us particularly, internally, obviously, the passengers are there. And as long as there is life, there are economic activities, there are social, cultural engagements, people must have to move from one place to the other, no matter what happens. And we are not at state of war or COVID pandemic era. So as long as that remains the case, there are passengers. So the business is still very huge, but the challenges is just being able to meet with the demands of having equipment flying, having timely supplies. So the foreign exchange that is hardly available is affecting our timing. Aviation industry is buy today, pay tomorrow kind of business. Due to these difficulties, Nigerian credit rating has been lowered in most part of the world. And the vendors and partners and associates we've been dealing with in the past, where we have established some credibilities, have some credit lines, they're finding it very difficult to respect that, because they know you have your money, so you have billions of naira trapped with your banks, waiting and bi-weekly or every other time to have some CBN allocations, which usually come minimally, or to see opening in the IATA window. These things don't come as when expected, so it delays. For instance, we United Nigeria Airlines have had an import license to bring in about 5 aircrafts in the last 6 months. Substantial commitment and payment has been made, but there are a couple of other things that needs to be done, which have been delayed, even if the naira is available, sourcing for the foreign exchange. So you can imagine if we have had these equipment in the market, increase our fleet, it will surely increase our business volume and also provide more and efficient service to our beloved clients and passengers. So to that extent, yes, it's affecting it. The season is coming very quickly. November, December is a 30% period of air travel in Nigeria. So our hope is that government might have to consider this and have a special intervention for us to have foreign exchange. Surely not for free. we have to pay, and with some support, capital support. We look at the rates due to inflation. At the rate the loans are out there, 20 to 30% for the commercial loans. It will be very difficult for you to apply it in a service and still sell ticket at affordable price. And you see, our concern is that when these tickets go out of range, out of affordability, it will affect other aspects of life and even business. It will reduce activities. And that is the same reason why government supposedly is subsidizing PMS, that is fuel for vehicles and all that, because they just don't want it to be outpriced out of the reach of every Nigerian, because it affects transportation, it affects cost of commodities if they have to pay too much to transport it. But again, we are calling for not grant, we are calling for not subsidy, we are calling for special intervention, because today, aviation, air travel is no more for the rich, it's no more for the elite. It is already a basic means of travel for every person because of safety on the road, and also with 200 million population. What's the size of our road that if we have to put in everything we have on the road, it surely will not be the best. But even if you look at America, that has one of the best road networks, security on the road, they still have a whole lot of people traveling from, tens of thousands of kilometers. So even with that, they still have huge air travel ratio in their country. So at every point in time, you cannot just do without the services of air travel. So it is to the interest of the government and the citizen that this sector receives the necessary attention that it requires. So before now, operators have been quite, their hands have been tied, have not been outspoken, but we came together and say, hey, this is the time we should take our situation out there, engage the government respectfully and maturely to see how we can together work for the best of this sector and then for better service to the Nigerian citizens.
Interesting conversation. I must thank you so much, Chairman, United Nigeria Airlines, Professor Obiora Okonkwo, OFR. He is also the spokesperson of the airline operators of Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Nigeria. We appreciate this.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.